extract gives skin ultimate antioxidant protection and photo age prevention, while floral plant stem cells protect and nourish. Repair and revitalize your skin with Fleur de Santé. Learn more about all of their products at fleurdesante.com.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
It's the Becky and Boca Show, coming to you live every Thursday night at 6 p.m. from glamorous downtown Boca Raton. I'll show you how to live life in style in one of the country's most elegant cities, nestled right along the beautiful Atlantic beaches between Palm Beach and Miami. So sit back, relax, and let me show you how to indulge yourself Boca style.
No, they're on TV. We're not on TV.
Hello, welcome to the Becky and Boca Show. I have some really good guests tonight. I have Mark and Jennifer Bell, and I have Jillian Smith, who is the director of SOS Children's Villages. And before we get started, though, I got to say, I have an event coming up. I just want to say, anybody that's interested, I have Siggy Flicker and Dolores Catania coming from the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Wednesday, October 11th, 6 p.m. in Meisner Park. And I have some sponsors all ready for that event, Green Dermatology, BioStation, and Ivy Lee's. It's going to be a fantastic night. You can get tickets, go to my Becky and Boca Show Facebook page, and there is a link there. Okay, now I want to get started. I'm sure anybody that has watched the news lately has seen what this Boca Power couple did for the kids from SOS Children's Villages during the hurricane. This is Jennifer and Mark Bell, and I want to welcome you to the Becky and Boca Show. And I'm so excited that you came on because I've seen you everywhere. I Googled this story today, and so many things came up. You've been, what networks have you been on? Everything, right?
Everything. Well, first, thank you for having us today. It's great to be here. And we've been very lucky. The media has given SOS Florida an enormous amount of attention, and they deserve it. I mean,
Absolutely.
Jillian's done an amazing job there, and these kids are amazing kids, and we're thrilled to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And I just want to start talking about what happened, and then you can join in, and you can join in too, Jillian. It was the Hurricane Irma, and you were all comfortable in your house, and you were in the SOS Villages home,
I was
right?
actually, I went to the village Monday morning.
Okay.
After the storm ended. I think the curfew was 10 a.m., but I knew that I had to go out to the village and just check out the damage and what, our property looked like. And I drove in about 8:30 and found a disaster. The streets, everything was still wet from the rain. The streets were covered with a ton of debris. We have a lot of trees on our street, so there was just debris everywhere. Big trees down, very unsafe. And of course, go into the office and flick on the lights, and there's no power. And on top of that, the city of Coconut Creek also had water restrictions.
And how many kids did you have in that?
Nobody was there at that time. They were in shelter. Friday evening before the storm, we evacuated the kids because our hurricane plan says that if it's going to be a Category 2 storm or higher, that the kids go into shelter. So they were safe in the shelter, but I was trying to figure out how I can get them out of the shelter as quickly as possible because it's not the most pleasant environment for them.
And how old are these children?
Our youngest is 2 and our oldest is 18.
2. Oh, that's quite a range.
Yes.
Okay, so they were all in a shelter together?
We had half the village at Lions Creek Middle School, and we had the other half right down the street at Monarch High School.
Okay.
And they were there since Friday. The storm was supposed to come, and then it kept slowing down, so it got kept getting dragged out. They were not wanting to be there to begin with, so obviously my first goal was to get them out of shelter.
Sure.
And when I walked into the village at 8:30 and found no power and no water, my husband was with me, and I said, oh my God, the kids they can't come back right now. We have to get this place cleaned up and see what we can do to get the power on. So I went back to my home, started making some phone calls to find friends that can get in touch with FPNL to get our power back. And while I was in the midst of all of this, I get a call from one of my staff who says, they're closing the shelters. Oh. We have to leave. I said, what do you mean they're closing the shelters? She said, everyone's packing up and moving out.
How are you even transporting all these kids?
We have vans.
Okay.
So each of our homes, we have 13 homes, and each of our homes does have a van. But we had moved the vans to protect them to the Coconut Creek Casino parking lot. So they had to do runs to pick up the vans. And I said, well, can you buy some time? Like, the village is a mess. You can't come back here. And she said, well, I'll talk to the officer. I'll see what I can do. So I hung up the phone. I looked at my husband. I said, I don't know what to do. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I have to call Mark. Because Mark was literally the last person that I spoke to Friday evening before they were going to shelter. And he said to me, the kids are going to be in shelter. You know, if they want to break at some point, maybe we can have them over for a couple hours. So I called Mark and I said, Mark, they're closing the shelters. The kids have to get out. I don't know what to do. And he said, okay, well, you're going to bring them here. And I said, really? He said, yeah, just give me about an hour. We have to get some things, you know, fixed around the house. But you'll bring them here and then we'll figure out what to do from there. So
wow,
that kind of, you know, set off a whole nother set of events. And I, at that point, stayed at the village to start cleaning up because I wanted, you know, Mark's to bring them here. I'm thinking, you know, they'll go, they'll have lunch, they'll hang out a little bit, play. He has a, you know, nice video arcade room. They'll play for a while, and then hopefully I can get my contacts to get the power back on and get the property cleaned up, and we'll get them back here. So the kids got to Mark, and he can tell you what happened from there. But, you know, I'm with a group of people at the village. We're cleaning, we're raking, we're cutting down trees with chainsaws. And, you know, I'm looking at my watch, and the power's not going back on, and it's 4 o'clock, and it's 4:30, and it's 5 o'clock, and Mark, you know, back on the phone with Mark now, and he's like, well, they'll just sleep here. So, and, you know, it just set off a whole series of events, and Mark and Jen were just amazing. They didn't leave one stone unturned. They did everything possible to make the kids comfortable, to make them feel safe, to, you know, accommodate my staff. And every morning, I went into the village and I left a porch light on. So when I drove in, my hope was that the light would be on. I've been there enough to get on. And then it just
do a drive-by. That's right. Before you go back. Okay, Mark. If anybody doesn't know who Mark Bell is, he's pretty well known. He's a 2-time Tony Award winner for Jersey Boys in August Osage County. He's a venture capitalist. He's the CEO of Kibu Watches. He's done a million things. Just Google this guy if you don't know him. It's incredible that in the spur of a moment, he just said, let me have all these kids, bring them to my house. I mean, most people wouldn't do that. It's very easy to write a check. It's much more difficult to open your home to 70 kids. I have 2 kids. I know you have 3 kids of your own, and 2 of them were there that night. And Jennifer, how did you feel about this?
I didn't think about it for a second. Jillian made the call, and she's so incredible with these kids, and who would ever want to have 70 kids and their house parents be without anything? And they were going to be in their car. They had no place to go.
And they'd be scared.
And they're already living,
right.
You know, they have anxiety every day. And we didn't even think about it for a second. Mark's like, Jen, I just got a call from Jillian. Can the kids come over? And I'm like, of course. Of course. But then Mark and I.
But not everybody would say that you're being humble.
Well, it's you know what? That's the way we both are. It's not about writing the check like you say, which anyone can do. It's a matter of once you meet these kids and you go to the village, all these kids want is to feel safe. They're always living in chaos.
Of course.
And they've already been living in chaos since Friday. Why make them still feel that way? So the minute they came into the house, they were just like, it was like almost like a sigh of relief for me to see them be at ease, and then to see them walking in. And they were impressed by the house, of course, but all they wanted to do was take a shower.
Yeah, get dry and warm and take a shower.
I don't know if I've never had to spend a night in the shelter. So I can't even imagine what it was like to be in the shelter for an entire weekend.
Aw. So how long were they there?
They went in about 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. And then
this
they
was
left
Monday.
Around Monday,
right?
Monday,
12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what happened when they came into your house?
Well, they came on in. We had them take off their shoes, and then we realized that 4 days in a shelter meant 4 days of no showers, 4 days of no laundry,
and you know how
you can smell them all a mile away. and they all hadn't had anything to eat yet today, so we figured we went for emergency food. That would be pizza. And
was there anything open?
Thank God Renzo's was opened, and we cleaned them out. We took 20 pies, and they were awesome. And they're my favorite pizza place in town, and they were great. And they made them right away, and they got us the pies. And we fed the kids, and then we started a process of showering them, bathing them, and doing their laundry, and getting them all cleaned up. And that took about 24 hours to do.
Do you have 70 beds in your house? I know you have a big house, but What did you do about that?
But they all had sleeping bags.
Okay.
So that was great. And
We had some air mattresses.
We had some air mattresses for the adults because they had parents with them, house parents, and the house parents' mom was with them too. And we had some other refugees that were staying with us. And we took care of everybody, and it was great. You know, over the course of 3 days, we served 800 meals. We had Bobby the Balloon Guy, Ziggy the Clown, School of Rock all donated their services.
I bet these kids didn't want to leave.
Chad Everett.
They did not.
Yeah,
They
that
did
was
not.
great.
Funny story. Tuesday afternoon, some of the older boys from the village came out to help us clean up. So there was so much that had to be cleaned up. And one of the boys looked at me and he said, "Miss Jillian, just want to tell you that if the power goes back on, I'm cutting the wires. You don't want to leave."
But we did still promise them a day at the pool because
Yes.
the one thing we couldn't
Oh.
do was they couldn't go swimming because there was so much damage
Debris
to
and
the pool,
everything.
debris and everything.
Sure.
So they kept saying, "Can we go in the pool? Can we go in the pool?" So we did promise them when we came back on Thursday that we would definitely have a pool day for them to all come back.
And I know you were putting out messages on social media that you wanted help from the community. Did anybody come and help you?
It was, you know, that we talk about, it's called SOS Children's Village, and it takes a village. In this case, a village showed up. We had over 150 people from the community come and help us over 72 hours. It was amazing. They came from all over Boca. They came, people we knew,
Miami.
people from all the way as far as down as Miami, as far up as Palm Beach.
Wow.
People we knew, people we didn't know. And they just came and they helped.
And you were telling me that some of these people, you still don't know who they were.
No,
they
it's
just came
amazing.
and worked, and they
We-
didn't
we-
want any recognition. They didn't want anything.
Nobody was there. Of course, you had some people come just for the selfie and they left. But
Yeah.
a lot of people really did work. There were people out there who really, people like Darcy Newman, who was there from morning till night every day, and Barry Newman, and you know, people were there all the time, helping, doing everything from taking out garbage to helping us with laundry. You know, our kids, David and Rachel, were helping us all 24/7 with everything. Everybody chipped in. Everybody helped. Nobody asked for anything. And even we were offering it, people were bringing food and bringing stuff, and we offered to help pay them back. And they said, no, it's a gift.
See?
We're not looking for anything. And people, like, someone bought dinner from Maggiano's for everybody.
Wow.
And we had dinner from Chinese one night. We had, you know, it was nonstop food. It was like being on a cruise ship for these
One
kids.
of those kids didn't want to leave.
And, you
But it's
know,
amazing how many, you know, we have 3 children. Everyone has like, 3, 4, some 2. But imagine 70 kids
No, I can.
to feed and entertain. And so we're entertaining
Right.
them from 2, and the 2-year-olds want to watch TV
Oh,
and
you
do
had
something
little 2-year-olds
different.
too. I forgot about that.
Oh, and
Yeah.
they were, of course, the cutest. But then you have the older boys that they have all this
There's not-
energy.
yeah. Right.
So we
Sure.
had one of our friends that saw us on Facebook, don't even know couldn't even tell you their names. He was an ex-football player, came out, did drills with the boys on the football fields. We had our country club Woodfield come out, help us with ice, chicken fingers, French fries. Had a few of their people come over and just play games with these kids, just have organized events so these kids weren't getting bored in the house.
Right. It's hard to entertain kids,
But it was-
especially with the mix of ages.
Right.
It was great. It was nonstop. We had an NBA player come play basketball with the boys. We had, and people kept calling. And it was so many people, and we felt bad because we couldn't respond to everybody offering to help. And people just show up, and it's like, there's some guy in my kitchen standing next to me. And I go to him, "Who are you?" And he tells me his name. I'm like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "Oh, I saw the post. Do I know you?" He goes, "No." And he literally was, he was helping me clean up stuff. And I was like, "You're awesome." And I'm like, and then he left. And we have no idea who he was. And just this nice guy. And there was like some woman helping us do dishes. We have no idea who she was. And all day long, people came and went. They came from 8:30 in the morning to 11:30 at night. Every day.
And I think when they got there, they didn't know what to expect. They're like, oh, it's Mark Bell's house, let's just say. And then they meet these children. And they are so well behaved. They are so respectful. They are delicious. And I think that we all like what they needed from us, we all in our community needed from them.
Sure.
Because they just
You
wanted,
probably get more out of it than they do, actually.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
just wanted attention and to be held and just to be appreciated, and they wanted someone to show up. So I always say to my friends, you saw them that day, but now I want you
Yeah,
to
don't
keep
let it
going.
just be a one-time thing.
Exactly. Keep going to the village. Go to the village. See the village. Be a part of their lives so they feel like there's somebody there for them.
That they can count on.
Jillian works hard, and all of her staff works really hard, but everybody needs help at some time. So
Can I ask you, Jillian, how do these kids end up in this particular village? I mean, what is their circumstance?
So what we do is we provide care, residential care, so they're living with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to children that are in the foster care system.
Okay.
Mostly in Broward County. We do have a couple of Palm Beach County kids as well. But these are kids that have been removed from their home. It's been, deemed an unsafe environment for a variety of reasons. So they're removed, and then the kids are placed with us. And they're with us until the court tells us differently. So each one of our families that come in has a different case plan, depending on what the issues are.
Okay. So they've been removed from their homes.
They've been removed from their homes, right.
Okay.
And one of the things that we focus on, oftentimes in the foster care system, siblings are separated. So now think about it. So you're a young kid, you go through this trauma of someone coming into your home and taking you away from mom and dad, and then you're then faced with possibly being separated from your brothers and sisters. So
that's horrible.
our goal is to eliminate that second trauma.
So you keep them together.
So we keep siblings together.
That's
so we have a lot of large sibling groups.
Okay.
Most foster parents in their homes in the community, they want to help. They want to take one child, maybe two. People are not really able or sometimes willing to take 4, 5, 6 kids, 7 kids, 8 kids. We've had a sibling group of 8 has been our largest.
Oh, wow.
So our goal is to keep them together and provide them with an opportunity to be a kid and get some stability, get some care, get some therapeutic intervention while their families are going through the same thing.
So do they eventually go back to their families?
Some of them do. It really depends on the family. So a lot of times we see parents that are very motivated. Oftentimes these are people that grew up in similar situations, so they don't know any different. They don't know how to be a parent, or they're facing some really difficult challenges, substance abuse, domestic violence.
Sure.
So we help them get services, and if they are serious and they go to their therapies and they participate in their parenting classes and they come for their visits and they're taking feedback and applying what they're being taught, then they can get their kids back. There are others that can't do that. They try, but they're just not successful.
So some of these kids stay there indefinitely?
So some of the kids will stay with us until they are ready to move out on their own.
What age is that?
Typically 18.
Okay.
We have, so at 18, kids are kind of exiting the foster care system. They can go into what's called extended foster care through age 21. But we allow them to remain on our campus until they complete high school. And then we have a secondary program where I have 3 staff that are dedicated just to those 18 and older.
Oh, so it is within the same system.
For us, it is. That's
okay.
A program that we run on our own. It's not state funded.
Wow.
We seek some private grants for that, but we continue to work with them because we know that at 18 they're really not ready to be
I have 2
completely
sons.
on their
18
own.
is not. You can't just throw somebody out at 18 and expect them to.
So we continue to work with them. So we have about 70 kids on our campus on any given day, 18 and younger, and then we have a secondary program of about another 80 young adults between the ages of 18 and the oldest right now is about 37. And people say to me, what do you mean you work with a 37-year-old? And it's not that we're working with that 37-year-old, it's that 37-year-old grew up in our village and he's part of our family. Because most of the kids who are staying with us till 17 or 18, they don't have family. That has been, their parental rights have been terminated, so they need it more than others. And we continue to, see them through. And so at 37, it's not that we're giving him any services, but if something great happens, he calls us because we're his family.
You're his family.
Right. Or if it's the holidays, he comes by because we're his
sure.
family. So so we have about 150 children and young adults that we're working with at any given time.
That's fantastic. And Mark, how did you get involved with this charity? Because this is not one of the more well-known charities in Boca Raton. I mean, I could name like 10 or 20 right off the bat, but not SOS, but I think it's probably one of the most important ones.
So it's about 10 years ago, a neighbor of mine asked me to go down, and they were doing a carnival, a street fair, and asked if I would contribute a little bit and come down to the street fair and see the place. And it was like a weekend. So I said, sure. He rented a bunch of bounce houses, and I'd go down. And so I went for an hour, and I saw, and I was like, okay, it's kind of neat. And, I was sitting on a lot of boards and do a lot of philanthropic stuff and kind of put it in the back of my head, and that was it. And then 5 years ago, I was turning 45, and I wanted to do something for my birthday, and I didn't want to do a party. And I wanted to do something for somebody else. And then I remember and my birthday, I was lucky, happened to fall on a Saturday. And I'm a big fan of Disney. And so I decided, I really want to go to Disney World for my birthday. I think it'd be kind of fun. And then, but I don't want to go by myself, just with my family. And so I called up the SOS and I said, hey, you know what? I love to take all these kids to Disney World, all of them, to Disney World on my actual birthday as a present to me. And so we chartered a bunch of buses and drove everybody up for what ended up being a magical day for all of us.
I'm getting teared up. This is really
And it was
amazing.
great. It was just they got to do every ride in all 4 parks in one day.
In all 4 parks.
We made some special arrangements.
You must
with
have been
Disney.
exhausted.
Yeah, we made some, but we broke them into groups, and I got to spend time with all these kids. So my goal was to spend an hour with each group over
so
the
you
course
get
of
to
the
know
day,
them.
so I get to know them.
And our kids too. We wanted
And
our
you talked to
we
your
wanted
kids.
our
We wanted
That's
kids
good for
kids
them
also
right.
to see that there's no difference between our kids and them. It's just a matter of who their parents, how they were brought up.
what happened.
Exactly.
We're all people at the end of the day.
Exactly.
We're all the same, and but it's great. They were just amazing. I fell in love with them,
And they must love you.
and
Taking
it
them
was
all to
great.
Disney.
And then I was lucky enough to get invited to
Were
join.
you on this trip?
I was not on the trip.
Okay.
I didn't go on the actual trip, but I was a part of the agency, so helped with planning it and putting the groups together and all
And
that.
so I was lucky enough to.
But I heard it was amazing.
It was fun. It was great. It was great. I had a blast. It was, and it was the most touching part was I found out there was some girl. It was her 16th birthday, and she never had a birthday party before. And so at dinner, we surprised her with a big cake. And when everyone thought they were going to be wishing me happy birthday, I asked her if she would come with me for a second. And the cake had her name on it, and we surprised
gosh.
her. And she was in tears. And
I'm in tears.
crying. It was so touching. Everyone
And
sang
they
happy
did.
birthday to her. And then I was lucky enough to join the board and just fell in love with the place and fell in love with
Well, they're
everything
lucky to
about
have you, and you too, Jennifer. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of wives would have said, "Oh no, you're not bringing 70 kids in here." But that's amazing, and I know you're going to ask our community to help also, because now that everyone knows the story, and if you haven't seen it, you're living under a rock because it has been everywhere. So. Maybe we'll wait until after the break to talk about how they can help. But
That'd be
tell
great.
me a little bit more about when they were at your house. How long were they there for?
We were there for 72 hours.
Okay. And then did you take a long nap after that?
Actually, it was very funny. So we went to bed Thursday night after they left. When we woke up Friday morning, we were all depressed.
See?
Because they weren't there.
It's
And
very-
it was like our family was disappeared, so we went down to the village to go see them.
Oh,
And the kids
gosh.
like jumped into our arms, and it was so sweet. It was just like it's like what Jillian says. It's like you can never leave there because it is like family, and once you really take time to get to know these kids, they become part of your family, and that's what really spending 72 hours with somebody makes you really connect with them, and
Sure.
we've all really all connected. So
And as a parent, I'm sure, you feel like, you can give to them something that they're lacking, which
Yeah.
is probably the most important part.
anyone, not even being a parent, but any
Right.
any person. We have a friend who the next day didn't even know that she was going to be there, and she's a girl. She's my best friend, and she's a little rough around the edges, and she fell in love. And I go, "Why are you here?" She goes, "Because I pinky promised her I'd show up." And I was like, "What?" And so she goes, "Yeah," and she had no clue that I was going to be there. She just showed up on her own, and then she said to the little girl, she goes, "Well, if you do well in school this week, we're going to have an ice cream party for you guys on Saturday."
Oh,
And
wow.
And so it's just a matter of, and I said to my girlfriend, I'm like, she needed you, but you needed her just as much.
Well, probably more.
Yeah. So it's just, it's one thing to, like you said, to write a check, but to go to the village and to see the great job that Jillian and her staff has done, it will change anybody. And that's like the most important message that at least we want to get across. It's just how important this village is. And you would never know that it was a foster kids. It's a regular block, so they can walk to school. They can invite friends over to their homes. So it's not like they feel like they're living
Right.
in foster care.
And what people don't realize is, these kids are our future. I mean,
Absolutely.
they're going to be doctors, lawyers. Who knows? The next president could be sitting in there.
And they need mentors too.
And-
People can come
Exactly.
and meet them and tell them what they do and show them the different career options. That all helps.
It's amazing to see what these kids how some of these kids over the years have grown up to be as adults and how successful some of them become as adults because of SOS.
Yeah.
And they
We have
are
really, really good outcomes with our kids. one of the things that we really focus on and instill in our kids is education, right? Because as a parent, that's like the most important thing.
Yep.
You can't do anything without it.
Right.
You may have had a bad start. You may have, come into the foster care system. Your family has some dysfunction and has some challenges, but education can change all of that. So we really push that and instill that in our kids. We have a tutoring company that comes out 4 days a week and goes into each home an hour and a half twice a week to make sure that the kids are learning study skills, that they're reading on grade level, that their math is up to speed. And for the past 10 years, 100% of our kids that are supposed to graduate high school are graduating, and 100% are going on to some form of secondary
100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mostly college. We do have a couple that end up going to some trade schools and stuff, but 100% are continuing on that education. And that's something that we're really proud of, because if you look at the statistics for foster care kids, they're really low. Less than half of the kids actually graduate from high school.
Wow.
And even typical kids, that are growing up in their families, the last statistic I saw was only like 40% went on to secondary education.
Wow. So yours are not only graduating from high school, they're also going on to college or some sort of a trade school or something like that.
Yep.
So you're really setting them up for the rest of their lives.
For the rest of their lives. Yep.
That's amazing.
So proud of you.
Yeah. What a great career.
It's very funny because, Mark and I got a lot of the attention because we did open up our homes, and not a lot of people would do that.
Absolutely.
But Jillian and her
She's the
staff,
everyday hero.
She's the everyday hero.
Yeah.
And she's the one that doesn't get noticed.
Jillian and her staff are the real heroes.
Right.
And they're the real heroes in this whole story. And, the people who help us, because remember, the state only gives us 50% of what we need to house, feed, and clothe these children.
Oh, my goodness.
Everything else comes from the generosity of the community. And if it wasn't for that money, they wouldn't exist.
Wow.
And but if you look at what we're doing, what Jillian's doing, we're beating all the odds, beating all the national averages,
Absolutely.
beating everything, taking these kids, and children are our future. I mean,
They sure are.
That's the future.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to go to break here in a second. And after the break, we're going to tell everybody how they can help, because anybody that heard this story is feeling like, well, gosh, I can do something, and there's something everyone can do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so before we go to break, I just want to thank my sponsors again for the upcoming event with the housewives. It's Green Dermatology, BioStation, and Ivy Lee's. Okay, we'll go to break, and we'll be right back with this amazing story with Jennifer and Mark Bell. And we also have Jillian Smith from SOS Children's Villages. Okay, be right back. Fleur de Santé, Europe's best-kept luxury skincare secret, is now available in the U.S. Fleur de Santé combines champagne extract with over 150 flowers from France and Sweden to give your skin a boost of immortality. Champagne extract gives skin ultimate antioxidant protection and photo-age prevention, while floral plant stem cells protect and nourish. Repair and revitalize your skin with Fleur de Santé. Learn more about all of their products at fleurdesante.com.
Tighten skin on your face, neck, and body, and lose fat at Ageless Body Sculpting Plus, located at 445 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca Raton.
When they took all of these kids, 70 kids, into their home during Hurricane Irma, we have Jillian Smith here from SOS Children's Villages, and we're going to talk about now how the community can help, because I know we have a lot of local people watching this. And if you live in Boca Raton, there's so many charities that get a lot of attention. And this one might not be known by everybody, but this is one where people can donate money, donate time, be a mentor to these children. It's really, I remember once my kids were in Gulfstream School, and it was a graduation ceremony, and the principal said something like, I'm going to paraphrase it, our kids think that they really need us, but the truth is that we really need them. So having a relationship with a child is incredible. It's probably the best thing you can do. And like you said, Mark, these are our future. This is our future. So if you can have an imprint on some child that needs a parental figure at a time like this, I just think that's a fantastic thing.
Listen, there's so many ways people can help SOS. I'll talk about some of it. Jillian will talk about some of it. First and foremost is we need money.
Cash.
It's a fact. We get these kids. The state gives us half of what we need. These kids we get, and remember we may have different kids a week from now than we have today.
Right.
So we may get socks and underwear and T-shirts today they'll go to kids, they leave, and then a week from now we get new kids, we need the same problem.
So you have to have money to go and buy these things to fit the kids.
So we have our own website, SOSFlorida.com.
Okay, go ahead.
And we have a GoFundMe page, GoFundMe.com/SOS Irma. And we set that up just for the storm. And then we also have our SOSFlorida.com. Either way is a great way to donate. And if you can't help out with things we need or with your time, we never say no to money.
Right.
And I'll let Jillian talk about the other things way people can donate. But please, if you're listening to this and you have the ability to donate $5, $10,
any amount,
$100,
right? Because sometimes these
it adds up.
GoFundMe accounts, people send in $10 and it turns into a huge.
Listen, if a million
Yeah.
people give $1, it's $1 million.
Right. One of our friends up in New York who is a single mom with 2 kids, doesn't have a lot of money, lives paycheck to paycheck. She donated $50. And she said, look, if I just don't buy coffee for the week, she goes, if I can help back, and that's all it is. We're not asking for a lot of money. We're just wanting to inspire
But we'll take
people.
a lot of money. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, we'll take a lot of money.
We have our good book of people out there that can help a lot. That would be good
Whatever you
too.
spend in New York Prime, you can match with us, and we'll be okay with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, give up one dinner out. How about that? Everybody gives up one dinner out.
That's
I
a
guess
spectacular idea.
Yeah, something
as
simple as that.
For us, we have our budget is about $3.8 million a year. We get about half of that from the state.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we have about $1.6 million to raise every year. And then on top of it, you have these, situations like Irma that just add additional expenses that were not budgeted for, that were not planned for. So, and then the other thing is it resets every year. So we're in a January to December fiscal year. So, we're doing really well. We're close to reaching our $1.6 million goal of fundraising. But guess what? It's October next week, right? So 2 more months, we're going to hit restart again. And we're going to have another $1.6 million to raise. So it's, it's always, it's a constant. It's a constant.
And unfortunately, most people, you have people can relate to cancer. People can relate to heart association. As adults, there's lots of diseases and things that we can relate to that will go to the big charities up at the Breakers or the resort. And, but, nobody thinks about kids. Nobody thinks about homeless kids. You don't see them on the streets.
Right. We're isolated in Boca Raton.
Right,
That sort
we
of
live in
thing.
a bubble,
Right.
and people don't see them walking around, but they're there, and they need help, and they don't have a voice, and it's not like they're running around asking for money,
Right.
And but they need money, and this is thanks to your show and things like this, we're able to go on and reach the community, and ask for help and ask for support. And they can go to our GoFundMe page, which is at SOS Irma on GoFundMe.
I'm going to put that on my Facebook page. So.
I would appreciate that. Thank you. And they can go to our own website.
Right.
But we're looking for people to give big and small. We're looking for people to get involved. We're looking for people to join the board who really want to get involved. We're looking for people. There's so many ways people can get involved. But and money is definitely first and foremost, and then people's time. Time is the most valuable commodity we all have.
To make a connection with the kid.
Right.
And if I can say something, we invited a lot of our friends to the gala that they host every year in April. It is.
Yes.
And my girlfriend said to me, "Wow, I didn't know it was for the Children's Village. I just went to the gala because you invited me to a gala.
Right.
So no one really knows about this village, and so." I feel bad that we got hit with this hurricane, and it did affect a lot of people, and people lost their lives. But if we can get the word out about SOS Children's Village, then something good came out of something bad.
Right.
And people in town have been very generous. Like Boca West has been super generous with us. We just had a donor out of nowhere, Rob Findizio, and his wife Kyle from Therapeutics MD just gave us a lot of money. So, we get people from all over the community. The Country Club Managers Association. Did I get that right, Jillian?
The CMAA. Oh, no.
Okay. Whoever it is, they're very,
Club
very
Managers
thankful.
Association of
Right.
America.
That's
Thank
right.
you. I
They've
knew
been
it
very
would come
generous
to
with
you.
us.
Yeah.
So, we do have a lot of support here in Boca. Don't get me wrong, but we need a lot more. But without those people, we'd be nowhere.
Right.
And we're very grateful to them. And
Well, I think you two have done a lot to help these kids. I think you're going to see a real influx.
Yeah, we've
So,
seen a lot of people the past week.
census.
While all the volunteers were showing up at Mark and Jen's house at the village, we put up a post on our Facebook page that we needed help with cleaning up and restocking refrigerators. Everyone, I lost power in my house personally, so I had to restock my fridge. But we had 13 houses that needed
So there's
restocking.
13 houses in this one block area? Is
Yeah,
it like
it's a
community-
cul-de-sac.
Oh, how nice.
So it's 13.
Beautiful.
It's 15
That's nice.
buildings, 13 houses, 2 administrative buildings, And while the 100+ people were showing up at Mark and Jen's house, we had the same thing in the village. We had every morning, there were just cars pouring in. There were teenagers getting out of the car ready to, rake and help. And there were parents that were coming, their trunks filled with milk and eggs and bread and tater tots and ice cream. And, Thursday morning we had a guy, he owns a company called The Bin Doctor. He came out and sanitized 37 recycle bins and garbage cans because, think about it, we lost power, we dumped out all the food, and it was sitting there, and we had maggots. And, again, so when people ask about, like, what does it cost? Can you do? Like, how do you do? So the money is important, but the support is important, too. So, the guy that came and cleaned the bins out, he gave us a very steep discount. The people that came and brought the food, they obviously they spent the money to buy the food, but they took the time and they went and they shopped.
They went and shopped.
That saved my staff from having to go to the store and think about that. The people that came and did the lawn work and so that was helpful for the hurricane, but we need that all the time. So when you stop and you think, what does it take to run a home? And we have 13 of them. We need that kind of help all the time. So if people can't write us a check, because some people can't, we have a volunteer program.
How does that work? If someone wants to do that, what does that entail?
So they can go onto our website. There is a link that says, I'm interested in volunteering. They can click that, and there's different ways that they can volunteer. Sometimes we have projects, and we just need people to come out and help us, run a graduation party. Or we have people that say, I really want a little bit more of an intimate relationship, a one-on-one relationship with a child. They can be a mentor. So we do have a home mentoring program.
That's nice. Okay.
Yep. People say, I want to host an ice cream party for the kids or a movie night on Friday night. We do have a community center. It's like a large building that we can do different things in. We have people that are yoga instructors, and they come out and run a yoga class Wednesday nights with the kids. We have a woman from Boca West Country Club. She's an artist. She comes out and works with a small group of girls and is teaching them how to paint. So, anything and everything, because it does take a village.
Right.
We are raising 70 kids, and, we do have house parents. We have live-in house parents, but typically it's one person with 6 kids in their home. It's a lot. I have 2 kids, and I am
I have 2 kids, too. I know.
I'm good. So, they all of these people lend that support, lend that helping hand to our house staff, and it really does make a difference.
Oh, I'm sure it does. And I saw on your website you have events coming up.
We do.
What's the next one?
As part of our fundraising plan, we run 2 events each year. Jen mentioned the gala, which is in April every year, but we have on November 4th, we have a 5K run walk. It's called Steps for SOS. There is a website, stepsforsos.org. You can go up onto the website. You can make a team. We're asking people to make teams, get people to join their teams, do some fundraising. It's really fun. It's at Tradewinds Park. We have a whole bunch of vendors that come out and set up booths. We have a DJ that comes and plays music for everybody. There was a performance last year where some kids danced. It's just a really fun morning. Very family oriented event. People brought their pets. We had dogs walking. So we have a goal for that event of raising $100,000. So again, stepsforsos.org. People can go on and make their team, join another team, get their friends involved, get their neighbors involved. We'd love to have as many people as possible. I think we had about 500 people last year. So if we can double that this year, that would be great.
I have a feeling this year it might be double.
Really gotta know that. That is so nice.
Yeah.
Now you two again, take me back to when they were in your house. You didn't hesitate at all. You're just like, they're coming. They're coming.
Yeah, we got the call she asked, and we said okay.
We first made sure we had, we ordered food, and again, they didn't accept credit cards. So we had one of our friends drive to go get 20 pizza pies. We had some folding tables. We scrounged around the house looking for any chairs that we could find so the kids could eat. All the Gatorade, water, ice that we had left over that we didn't thankfully need for the hurricane. And then
you didn't lose power at
we
your
didn't
house.
lose power.
Okay.
So then we said, okay, let's put them all in the arcade. And we have a lot of...
What kid wouldn't want that?
Well, right, but when you're 2 years old, so we went upstairs and we have a playroom.
Oh, yeah, the little ones.
So we had all the little ones. So we brought down all like the little dolls and the Barbie dolls and little things. And then we decided that the little girls might want manicures. So
how cute.
We did manicures and we did pedicures for the house parents.
Aww.
And then we had, what we called everyone we knew. Party Perfect was a really big help because they helped us find entertainment. We had an ice cream truck.
Oh, wow.
Chad from Boca got us an ice cream truck. Angela Spera and Teresa Anderson got us entertainment, and everybody chipped in from the community. It really was. All we did was just started off by saying come over, and we posted
but
on
that's
Facebook.
the biggest thing.
But it was everybody else who did everything to really make it happen. I mean, we give a lot of credit to our friends and neighbors and the amount of time they worked. And I know I keep giving shout outs, but all these people deserve it.
Right. And I remember the next morning, one of our friends from Miami, they had showed up on Monday, and I get a phone call at 7:30 in the morning, and Adrian and Vanessa Lenz, because I do want to give them a shout out, were the first people to show up from Miami the next morning.
Right.
And they didn't have to. They just showed up. And it wasn't like people were there for just a social gathering. Sorry. They were there to really work and really help. So it was beautiful.
Yeah. People were great. It was a great, the community really came together. Boca really, we talked about, some people talk about doing, and some people always say what they're going to do. In this case, Boca did. And we're very proud of Boca Raton.
Well, I think they can continue that. And anybody listening to this or watching, so if someone wanted to help, they call you, or how do they can, what's the next step?
You're welcome to call on the show if you want to.
We can, okay, you want to do a call-in? 888-565-1470 if anyone wants to call in. We can take your call.
Oh.
And, okay, so if someone's out here and they want to get involved.
So they can visit our website. There are some directions.
The website is
at www.sosflorida.com.
sosflorida.com.
Or they can call in to the village, 954-420-5030. They can just explain why they're calling, and then they'll get passed on to the right person.
Okay, and then we have the GoFundMe account. That's gofundme.com/SOSIrma. And you have another...
That's enough. That's
okay,
it.
that'll get you there.
Yeah, get us there.
If you want to call in right now, the number is 888-565-1470. We can take your call on air. So you've been working with this charity for 10 years?
5 years.
No, 5 years, okay. And I suppose it's probably one of the most rewarding things you've ever done. And you have a very colorful career. You've done a lot of things. Is this probably one of your...
this is probably one of the most gratifying, because you get to see these kids grow up. You get to know them. Your goal here is to see them grow up to be fully functioning, productive adults who have normal lives.
Right.
And that's how that's success.
Absolutely.
And it's great how all these great kids graduate high school, go on to school afterwards, and become self-sufficient. It's what we want for all of our children.
Sure.
We want our own children.
It's just like
the same thing we want for our kids, we want for them. And that's the great thing about it, is they have the same opportunities in life going forward. And it's great. It's just great to watch.
Yeah, and your statistics there with 100% getting out there, that's amazing.
And we're really starting now to see, a lot of kids graduate college. A lot of them are coming back, and they want to help. So
the ones that were there.
That's the most rewarding thing. When you have an adult, I always call them kids because to me they're always kids. But you have an adult that went through our program, and they come back and they say, what can we do to help the kids that are living there now? Last year, I think it was spring break, we have a couple of boys that are in college playing football, and 3 of them got together on spring break and called us and said, get the guys together, we're coming out to run a football clinic. Totally unsolicited. They came up with this idea on their own, and they, for 3-4 hours, we have a field in the back of our property, they took them out back. They were teaching them football. They were talking to them about appreciating what they have at the village and working hard and getting into college, because they did it, and they were able to share that experience with them. So, that's priceless. I mean,
a role model.
We cannot, script that stuff. So that's really amazing to see.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing how many Facebook messages I've gotten from people that have been in the foster care system.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's just an outpour of, them thanking us, and one saying, this one woman was like, I became successful. My brother's unfortunately, incarcerated. So it's just the amazing amount of attention, because no one really wants to talk about foster kids. They don't vote. And just to get the word out about the village and about these kids, so they have a voice, because Jillian can speak a lot, but she can't speak every day. So it was a good thing that this was now able to get into the public, and for people to realize that they can help in so many ways.
We always say we're like the best kept secret, and that's
I
like,
know.
we don't want that.
Right. No longer.
No longer a secret.
No,
I think they use up.
You called the wrong person for that one.
Wow. So, Jennifer, I'm amazed with you too, because a lot of women in Boca say 70 kids coming to the house. Oh, wait a minute.
I fell in love with them. I remember putting the younger ones down for bed, and I love Hello Kitty, and they all wanted Hello Kitty. So I took out this big Hello Kitty stand. I did a Hello Kitty night light because they were all sleeping in a shelter. They were scared.
Sure, and there was a hurricane.
There was a hurricane,
storm.
and here now they're in this strange person's house. And so I went into my Hello Kitty collection, and I gave them each a Hello Kitty to sleep with because I just wanted them to. And it was just really, it was just a touching moment for me to know that all they wanted to, all our kids wanted to be was held. And
Sure.
that's all these kids wanted, was to feel safe. And I always made the comment that even though the hurricane's over, there's still a hurricane with these kids.
Right.
Because there's still a lot of changes. It's every day. And it's just knowing that if I say I'm going to come to the village, I'm coming to the
A
village.
dependable person.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah.
That's all that they need.
Right.
And Jillian's been there for 20 somewhat years.
20.
Wow.
Yeah, August was 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you don't look old enough to have been there.
Exactly. So I'm learning by her example of what it takes to show up for these kids and what an
To stick
amazing job
around.
to stick around.
Right. To have something solid in their lives that
exactly.
continues. And that probably means so much to these kids.
Yeah.
To have somebody that they know has an interest in them.
Most of them have always been let down by adults. Not necessarily on purpose. Again, so many of the parents that we see, they were in similar situations, but they have been let down. So for them to see adults, most of whom they don't know, that actually come through and are there to take care of them, it just is so meaningful for them. It just leaves such an impression on them, and it changes their view of what who adults are.
Sure.
And that people do care about them. That there really are people out there that want to help them and want them to succeed and want to wrap their arms around them and make sure that they
Just
have
someone to tell a kid that they're proud of them can probably
Absolutely.
change their life.
Right, and make them want to do good. So if you get a good report card,
Right.
you're going to get the ice cream sundae. But I do have to share a very sad story that's going to get me emotional.
Uh-oh.
But it was the last night, and we did a birthday cake for all the kids, and we said to one of the little boys, I said to him, "Okay, make a wish." And all of our kids, especially kids that live in this area, I want an iPad, I want an iPhone.
I want a new car.
Right.
Give me a Porsche.
He pulled me down. He goes, "I just want my mommy to come home." And that's all that they want, is they just, we take for granted, our kids take for granted that we are here every day. We might work, we might be single moms, but they know that they're coming home
Show up.
to a home with parents. These kids don't have that. So if people can just show up for them, whether it's a cash donation, which is always helpful, but just showing up for them in one way or another, that's what they need.
And being dependable.
Yep.
Yeah.
dependable.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And keeping their word. If you say you're going to be there, then be there.
And do you have any examples of people that you know that have done that? Or is,
I just
besides you
mentioned-
two?
Yeah.
No, I just
No, we have gotten calls. So
Okay.
a lot of people that
And
were at
I-
Mark and Jennifer's home are now calling and saying, "Hey, can we have the
Because they made a
volunteer
connection.
packet?
Right.
We want to continue
And-
to be involved." The two girls that showed up, Jen referenced them earlier, but on Thursday we were, the office was open again. We were just trying to get back on our feet, and two of the girls showed up and said, "Hey, we were at Mark and Jen's house. We really, fell in love with these kids. We made a pinky promise that we would come visit them. Is it okay if we go over to the home and see them?" So we made arrangements, for them to go over and see the kids.
and were the kids excited about
And
it?
the kids were excited,
because
that
someone
pinky
kept their promise.
right?
And then she said, they go to church on Sundays, and then she's like, "Will you come to church with me?" And it's so she's now going through the whole volunteer process, so she can actually really start coming over. And then she was the one that promised them the ice cream Sunday, because she wants to be a mentor to these little girls, because
Sure.
women helping other women and seeing them, and it's like, if you can change one little girl's life,
You made a
life,
huge difference.
you made a huge difference. So you're grateful if we could save them all, but even if you could change one
Right.
child's life, that's all it takes. And I know my girlfriend, who she knows obviously because she's probably watching, it's definitely changed her.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's amazing
And
how
that
much.
connection could last a lifetime.
And I know for a fact it will.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's great.
That's
so.
fantastic. Now I'm tearing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say, because you asked what can people do,
Right.
come see the village.
Okay,
Jen and I
hear
were
that?
talking about this before. So people that are listening to us, watching us on Facebook, we're telling you about it. You probably have some vision in your head of what this is like, but you have to
see
come.
it. Okay,
because when
where
you can
exactly
see-
is it?
So we're in Coconut Creek.
Okay.
We're right off of Lyons Road and the Sawgrass. So we're right on
Okay.
the border of, Boca, Palm Beach, and Broward.
Okay.
But we can't paint the right picture. When you
have to see it.
come and you see it and you see the kids just being kids, just doing things that kids do, riding their bikes after school, playing basketball, sitting at the table doing homework, and you see genuine smiles on their faces and you see the interaction with the adults in their lives, it really makes a huge
And for those moms and
impression.
dads whose kids have gone off to school and you're feeling a little bit of a void, this
There
would
you
be
go.
a
That's a
great
great
way
idea.
to.
We have a lot of empty nesters that want to
I
get
became
involved.
depressed when my kids left for school.
Yeah.
So if I had known about something like this,
Yeah.
it would have helped a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
and
like
some
they're
people
helping.
will say, like, I'm not good with kids, but I want to help. We need help in our office. So, you know,
Okay.
maybe you don't want to
Okay.
interact with a child, but you want to help the kids. Helping us in an administrative capacity is a possibility. So
Okay.
I just want to
So
keep
anything
painting the
you can
picture
do-
for people of
right.
what you can
Anything
do.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
And does someone need an appointment to come and check out the place? Or
They can show up. I mean,
Okay.
typically we have our administrative building is open Monday through Friday. Typically by 8:30, somebody's in the office till at least 5:30.
Okay.
So if they don't have an appointment, they can show up. I can't promise that somebody's going to be able to sit with them at that moment. Like our volunteer person will be able to sit with them at that moment, but somebody will talk to them
Okay.
and tell them and show them the village and at least give them, some exposure, and then we'll get them set up for whatever it is they want to do.
Okay, I think you're going to change lives not only of the kids but of people that volunteer because, like I said, you make a connection like this and it'll last a lifetime.
Yeah.
It'll be
absolutely.
like family, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, and some of our mentors, when we match them, when the kids turn into adults, they maintain that relationship. So
Yeah.
I have a young man who he works for Broward Sheriff's Office. He lives in the village. He not only did he put himself through the program to become an officer, but at the same time, one of his sisters who lived at the village as well didn't fare as well as he did, and she got into some drug issues, and she had a
Okay.
son. And the state was going to take her son away, and he said no. He stepped up, and he took in
Oh, my
his
gosh.
nephew, who he then adopted. But he had a mentor that we had matched him with when he was 11 years old, and they maintained their relationship. Freddie was in Michael's wedding when they got married, and last year, 2 years ago at our gala, Freddie was our guest speaker, and he stood up and told everybody that was at our gala that he was officially changing his last name to Davis because his mentor was his father figure.
Yeah.
And as an adult, he was making that decision. So, you say these relationships last a lifetime. They really do. And
Yeah.
they really make a huge difference.
I'm sure they do. Anything else you two want to say? Our local heroes for taking these kids in and shedding all this light on their story. I think you've helped them immensely.
I think they've helped us immensely.
Well,
I
see
mean,
that just like that principal
it-
said, the
yeah.
kids think they need us, but we need them more than
It
them.
was a great experience. We want to thank the community, thank all the people who came to help. We want to thank all the great people at SOS and all the hard job that they do. It's really a thankless
Right.
job, the people who work there.
Right, sure.
There's nobody there to say thank you. And to
Right.
thank you to all the house parents and all the staff that work there.
Mm-hmm.
They really have do an amazing job every day, day in and day out. And it's just great to be part of it. And thank you very much for having us today.
Well, thank you.
you.
And all you Becky and Boca followers, you better come through for me. Come on. This is a great thing.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I
you're
want
welcome.
to, they've heard it from me 100 times, but I just want to say a personal thank you to Mark and Jennifer because we definitely would not have made it through Irma alive if it wasn't for them.
Right.
And they're our heroes. So thank you.
Our pleasure.
Absolutely. Okay, so watch my social media. I'm going to be posting all of these links, all the different ways you can reach them and things you can do, and message me, and I'll put you in touch with the right people because this is a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer
Thank
and
you.
Mark Bell,
Thank you.
our local heroes. And thank you, Jillian, for everything you do at the SOS home because, I mean, it's just wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tune in next week for the Becky and Boca Show. We'll see you then. You have been watching and listening to The Becky and Boca Show. Tune in every Thursday night at 6 p.m. to discover all the ways to spoil yourself and have a good time in beautiful Boca Raton. See you next week.